Welcome back. The United Youth Civic and Advocacy Forum, known as UYCAF, is a youth-led group focused on civic education, leadership and encouraging young Namibians to take part in national matters. The forum creates a space for youth to share ideas, develop leadership skills and actively participate in shaping their communities. Now, joining us this morning to share more about UYCAF's work and future plans are Eden Shuya, the Deputy Executive Director, and the Executive Director, Vincentius Fourie. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Namibia.
Good morning.
Good morning, Kuda.
Great. I'm going to start with you, sir. Okay. To start off, what inspired the creation of the United Youth Civic and Advocacy Forum?
Okay, so mainly we started this to basically reach out to, let's say, senior high school students, university students and young professionals, basically to bridge the gap between us, the youth, and civic matters within the country. So our main goal is to go out and educate, and that is our target market.
Now to you, Mr. Fourie. Can you tell us what the main goals or focus areas of your group are, just to add on to what Mr. Shuya told us?
Well, like he said, we are a civic organization. We plan on educating the youth of Namibia through civic matters, advocacy, and leadership training. So we saw that the youth of young Namibia, they don't have places where they can air their views. So we intend on creating a platform for them where they can actively contribute and bring about policy influence.
What kind of activities or projects have you already started or plan to start on soon?
So we recently had a policy and leadership workshop hosted at the University of Namibia, whereby the session was attended by Advocate Tausi Namisep, the Secretary to the National Council, who basically engaged with the students. He informed us how the Houses of Parliament work and how we, the youth, can actively contribute to social change.
What challenges have you faced so far whilst trying to set up your organization?
Okay, so we are a non-profit organization, obviously, and we are in the infancy stages. Yes. So obviously the main implications that will come up is the financing and the logistical matters, right? So that's our main implications right now, but it doesn't mean that we're not working on it. We're still looking for donors to help us so that we can, properly manage our youth organization. I would say another challenge that we're facing is the mobilization on the mobilization on tertiary institutions like NAS, UNAM, and IUM. It's difficult to actually go out there and mobilize and get more members because we're not registered on those campuses. Like I said, we just started now in the middle of the year, and usually registration of these kind of organizations happen in the beginning of the year. So right now we cannot actually go out there and mobilize, but something we're working towards in the beginning of next year so that we can properly do it.
Now, speaking about donors, what kind of donors would you be looking for? Is it a specific sector? Maybe you can just elaborate on that one.
Just those that mainly have the same interests as us, which is youth empowerment and providing platforms to the youth. Recently, we've been seeing that there's been a lot of priority and, let's say, highlight towards the youth in Namibia. So I think we have a lot of potential donors that are also interested in that kind of, let's say, market or industry for us. Yeah.
One can really tell that this is a passion project for you. So maybe just to go back a little bit, okay. There's always a story behind something like this. What's your story? What particularly inspired you? I'll start with you, sir, to get into this. What did you study? How did you get here?
So what caught me was actually towards the end of last year when we were having our elections. For my peers, it was our first time voting. So the conversations there were very, in that light, were very, how can I say, interesting. let me say that for lack of a better word, they're very interesting. People had so many different views, but what I saw is that there was a lot of lack of educated opinions, basically. Most just came from the heart, and that's when I realized that we really need, as a youth, we need to take up our civic responsibilities and actually start engaging in these conversations at an educated point of view. So that's one of my driving factors into going into this. Yes.
Same question to you, sir. What brought you here? What's your story?
Or like he said, last year was actually my first year voting. So I really don't want to be one of those people that just a passive, basically. We want to turn passive youth into active citizens that know their rights and their responsibilities and how they can impact their communities and the future's country as well. So I have a passion for this. I have a passion for empowering young people. I'm a law student and I'm about to graduate. So this is really fulfilling for me to do.
Great. Now, how do you plan to make a real and lasting difference in the lives of young people through this initiative? What would be the end goal, if I can put it that way, or say 3 years from now, where would you want to be? We can start with you, Mr. Fourie.
Yeah, so we basically want to establish permanent structures. We've assembled a team of really committed students from different universities, and we want to see this through. So we are planning on collaborating with organizations that share our similar interests. We can partner with the government and basically anyone that can help us execute our mandate.
Mr. Shuya, how can other young Namibians or organizations join to support your network?
So it all depends on the interest. If the interests are similar to ours, then we are more than welcome. We'll welcome you with open arms into working on future collaborations together. I mean, we've already started with our first, our first project was with, in collaboration with the Sociology and Anthropology Society from UNAM. So they focus on policy making, Constitution of Namibia, and that's one of our goals, to educate the Namibian youth on that. So our goals align, and we try to see what we can do together or how we can work together into realizing our goals. So I urge those that are seeing what we're doing, that are seeing our work, to give us a call or to answer our calls so that we can mobilize.
Talking about seeing your work, where do they see it? How do they get in touch with you?
We're very active on our socials, on Instagram and LinkedIn. Our PR officer is also trying to work on attractive TikTok trends, just to get the youth going, jump on the bandwagon, as well as our WhatsApp channels, United Youth Civic for Advocacy. Yeah.
Before we close, what message would you like to share with the youth of Namibia, Mr. Fourie?
I just wanted to say, so this organization is trying to prioritize the youth from informal and rural areas, right? So we are trying to decentralize it from the capital. I just wanted to say, I read a quote somewhere that stated that the success of our country does not depend on one singular person. Each and every one of our citizens and each and every one of the sons and daughters of Namibia should be a catalyst for development and change. So I basically just want to say that we should, if you're open to assisting us, if you're open to collaborating, we should do it.
Last remarks from you?
I would just like to say that we're advocating for equal opportunity for everyone. And us as the youth, we need to wake up. We need to know that we also have civic responsibilities and responsibilities as citizens of this country to have a certain standard and uplift that standard and uphold that standard. So I urge you guys to keep yourselves educated, to help where you can. If your neighbor is lacking in something, go out there and help the person. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you for
much.
having us.
That was Mr. Vincentius Fries and Eden Shuya from the United Youth Civic and Advocacy Forum, known as UYCAF. They were speaking about a youth-led group that's focused on civic education. They're not only talking the talk, they're walking it too. They're the young people that have really taken up this initiative, and they're calling upon others to join this movement. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Now, a breast cancer diagnosis is not only a physical challenge, but also a deeply emotional journey that can leave individuals feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or uncertain. Navigating the emotional toll is just as important as understanding the medical aspects of the disease. As more awareness grows around the holistic care, addressing mental and emotional well-being has become essential. Joining us today to explore this important topic is Simone Fourie, psychological counselor, who supports individuals and family through mental health challenges of serious illnesses such as breast cancer. Good morning, ma'am, and thank you so much for making time to speak to us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the most common emotional reactions people experience after receiving breast cancer diagnosis, and how might someone recognize the need for professional psychological help after such announcement has been made?
Yes, I think the initial reaction can be shock. Because it is very shocking to hear that you have a cancer diagnosis. So that's a common and very natural reaction to have. And some people might even be in denial that that is really happening to them. And then, of course, anxiety and fear is a second emotion that someone has. Obviously, there's a lot of uncertainties that's going to go along with a cancer diagnosis, especially a breast cancer diagnosis. And you can feel very afraid for the future and what's to come and what you're going to experience and how your treatment will be. So yeah, the anxiety is all over the place. It's very prominent. And then anger also. Some people can feel angry. They can feel that this is very unfair, that this is happening to them, and maybe they don't understand why this is happening to them, and they can even feel angry at themselves or at the doctor or at the diagnosis. So those are some of the common emotions that someone might experience following their cancer diagnosis.
Let's talk about some healthy coping strategies for managing anxiety and uncertainty after this diagnosis. How does one cope?
It's a difficult question. I think it's important to focus on what you can control. So focus on the facts, educate yourself about your diagnosis, and don't just go on random Google searches, any sources that you can find. Rather write down your questions and your concerns and before you go to your doctor's appointments, and then ask your doctor about it. Because the more you know, the more in control you will feel, and that can help to reduce that level of anxiety and uncertainty that I just spoke about. So really just focus on what you can control. You can't control your treatment, that's the doctor's part of it. And then also try and take care of yourself still in the meantime. Try to maintain a healthy lifestyle. If you are still able to exercise, try to exercise. That can manage your stress. Try to have a healthy diet, get enough sleep. All of these things will contribute to your recovery and your healing journey, and keep your strengths up in this difficult time.
I'm sure support is quite important, and perhaps then the question comes to the role that family can play. What role can then family play? Is there a role for friends? Is there a role for support groups in helping you process these emotions that one might be experiencing?
Yeah, I think if we're talking about professional support groups, that can be great, because it's comprised of people who've gone through a similar experience as you, so they can really offer you practical advice because they've gone through it as well, and they know what you're feeling to the T. And then family and friends are very important as well. They form part of your support system and structure because they help you maintain that sense of normalcy and your identity outside of your diagnosis. When you were a normal human first before your diagnosis, you're not just your breast cancer diagnosis. So they can distract you. They are there to reassure you, to comfort you, and to motivate you during difficult times, and help you feel a bit normal, as you're going through your diagnosis and your treatment.
Now, people might be different. Some might be thinking, I might have gotten this bad news. Some are in the business of saying, let me suppress my emotions. But more so what I'm picking up from you, you're indicating that it's important to express, acknowledge and express emotions rather than suppress them during this journey. Why is it important to express how you feel? Some might be saying, why should I express? It won't change anything. So what is the point of expressing?
Yeah, I hear that. I think the problem with suppressing your emotions and not expressing them is that it can have a negative impact on your mental and your physical health. On your mental health, keeping it all in, it will build up, and it's going to catch up to you later, and it can lead to anxiety and depression. I mean, that's another added factor to your already difficult diagnosis that you probably don't want to deal with. And then on your physical health, keeping it all inside, it can increase your stress, which will increase your stress hormone cortisol, which can have a negative impact on your immune system. And once again, it's another added factor of difficulty. So accepting your emotions and expressing them will just help you to cope better, and it opens the door for support, for people to validate you. So it can actually change things. It won't change your diagnosis and it won't change the outcome, but it can make you feel better and help you cope better with it.
So definitely it can help you move towards healing and being resilient.
Yeah, for sure, I agree.
How might someone recognize that they need professional psychological help during this process? What is there a ticker? Are there some of those that can survive without getting this help? And if someone is perhaps finding themselves in these circumstances, what would be those tick-offs that one might need to say, okay, I think I can handle this, I actually need help?
I think it depends from person to person, because some people are more resilient than others, and some people already have more resources than others. Some people have very supportive families, others are alone in their diagnosis. So those factors will also influence whether you want to access professional help or not. But I think personally that any professional help that can support you during this time and increase your functioning is a good idea, but it is open to you. Obviously, there are people who will go through this cancer diagnosis without accessing professional help, and that's also okay. But if you feel like you really are struggling to cope and your emotions are persistently sad, or you persistently feel depressed, or you cannot focus or function, sorry, like you normally would, then I would suggest getting professional assistance because it can't hurt, can it?
Can't hurt. Now, finally, we know that healing is not just about physical, but it's also emotional and psychological too. Is there a key plan or strategy, you know, or small steps that one can take to ensure that they honor their emotional well-being on this journey? What steps can they take for those that might be watching, might be finding themselves in this circumstance?
I think if you've gotten your breast cancer diagnosis, you have to kind of accept that there will be a level of uncertainty in your future, and rather than to try and fight that constantly, rather try to tolerate the discomfort that comes along with it. I mean, that's one step that you can take to take care of your emotional well-being. And then also be kind and compassionate towards yourself, because this is something really difficult to go through. No one is expecting you to be on top of the world while you're dealing with this. So yeah, not every day is going to be a good day, and that's also okay. So yeah, I think be kind, be compassionate, be accepting that you're going to have difficult days, and that's fine too.
Well, Simone Fourie, thank you so much for making time to speak to us this morning.
Thank you for having me a lot.